Hey, everybody. Welcome to The Wise Guys, the largest BYU sports live stream show in the world, presented by Brady Plus Eddie, Mountain America Credit Union. Wise Guys is distributed by the Deseret News. Look for our podcast tomorrow, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Dave McCann. My BYUtv colleague, Jason Shepard's in for Blaine tonight. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you welcoming me in. As Blaine is where? In Spain?
Spain or somewhere.
Blaine in Spain. It rhymes.
Our live stream is active as always. Tucson, Arizona. I saw Nebraska right there. Weston checking in. Lori from Orem. And we hope to circle the globe here tonight. So we'll try to give you out as many shout-outs as we can possibly give you as we move through the show. And we invite you to subscribe to our free email at wiseguys.com. And you can also watch all our past content, a lot of fun shows. And we'd love it if you hit the subscribe button. That's free on our YouTube channel. And we'll continue to conquer the world. We got a fun show tonight, Shep.
Yeah, we do. We'll get the prep for East Carolina. BYU after the bye week, getting ready for the Pirates on the road in Greenville. So we'll hear from Kalani Sitake from his press conference earlier today.
I'm a little worried about that game.
Look, it's not an easy game, especially when you look at the offensive numbers that East Carolina's putting up. We'll get into more of that a little bit later.
Rebel Dog 2 in from Huntsville, Alabama. Hey, Mike, good to have you with us. Max from Salt Lake here on the stream tonight. By the way, Air Force pilots, BYU fans and Latter-day Saints, Morgan Curridan and Sam Eliason are going to join us on the show. They're going to do the F-15 flyover before Saturday's game, and they're doing Wise Guys tonight.
Hey, yeah, we're going to get a little sneak peek on maybe the route, all that good stuff.
Anything we can think of asking a pilot, we're asking them tonight.
Absolutely. We'll also talk about the BYU defense with somebody that knows a little bit about being a BYU defensive player, and that is the legend, Derwin Gray. Dewey Gray is going to join us on the program tonight.
He's always so good. Christian Eisinger is the BYU alumni rep for North Carolina and the Raleigh-Durham area, and so he's going to join the show. We'll talk about all the activities around the game this weekend, the tailgate, the service project, and all that stuff. So we'll check in with Christian in just a little bit. He's been amped up for a week now to join the Wise Guys, so we're excited about that.
Yeah, and one of the other things that we're going to talk about tonight is a little NIL, and we're going to have Mark Sanders on the program, and he's with the Waypoint Revenue Share Program, and we're going to kind of get an idea on how things are working in terms of that, but also a pretty cool way for you to be able to participate, but also help out BYU athletics. So a lot to get to with that.
And our Relight Athlete of the Week. And once we announce that athlete's name and let you know what that athlete did, you're going to go, that is absolutely the Relight Athlete of the Week. So that's all coming up tonight, plus your comments and a lot of news and notes from BYU sports. Let's see. Carolyn's in from Phoenix. What did I just see? I said, Ring a Bling in from Saratoga Springs. How about that? How about that call name?
Not bad.
There's Russ from Naperville, Illinois. Pleasant Hill, California. Jeff is in, or is that Jail? Let's see who else. Nick's from Pensacola, Florida, and here we go. All right, Heber City in the house as well. Wise Guys is presented by Brady Plus. Brady Plus provides cleaning, food service, and packaging equipment, dispensers, and service and repairs for over 150 distribution facilities across the country. They've got over 6,000 employees. Learn more at bradyplus.com.
Also, Edie, correct? Is that Eddie? I just wanted to make sure.
Right.
Eddie, HR and payroll software built for small businesses. Whether you run a dental office in Spanish Fork, Utah, or a construction crew in Lehigh, Eddie helps you hire, onboard, track time, and run payroll all in one place. It's simple, it's local, it's reliable. It's built for business owners who believe people come first. See how Eddie can serve your team at eddy.com, EDDY.com.
Mountain America Credit Union, helping people achieve their financial dreams for over 80 years. Whether you're buying a home, planning for retirement, or managing daily expenses, Mountain America has the tools, technology, and guidance to help you succeed. There's a lot of information waiting for you at MACU.com, MACU.com. Our
Relight Athlete of the Week is presented by Redmond. The secret is in the salt. Learn what it can do for you at Redmond.com.
And Wise Guys is distributed by the Deseret News and Deseret.com, Utah's newspaper since 1850. All right, Cougar Nation, it is Monday. The polls are out, and the Cougars are out. or at least not in the top 25.
Just out.
Associated Press has them 26 in the coaches poll. ESPN's FBI has BYU at number 22, and the Kyle Ford ratings at number 25. You know what? It would have been nice for them to get in the poll because some teams in front lost, but I think 26 in a position to pounce. I'm really not all that disappointed at this point.
Look, I didn't expect them to jump into the polls with a bye week. If they weren't good enough to get in the minds of the voters, and I have been on record that I think I wasn't totally shocked. I can certainly make a case that BYU should be 25, but I wasn't surprised that without playing a game, they were not going to get in. But the fact that, they went from 2 spots out to being 1 spot out, they technically did move up a spot.
Yeah, technically.
I mean, they didn't move into the top 25, but they went from being the first team out after week 1 to being the second team out. So essentially going from 26 to 27, now they're back up to 26. So they did improve slightly.
Yeah, and there's some teams ahead of them that are playing each other this week. And so there's going to be some room. If they beat East Carolina, they're going to be in that top 25.
Well,
as flawed as the top 25 is, you still want to be in it.
Right. And look, ESPN's Football Power Index, as you mentioned, has them at number 22. And the numbers like BYU. The Football Power Index has always had BYU high in their rankings. They like what they're seeing, and that takes all the emotion out. That's an algorithm is what that is. That's essentially plugging in the numbers and then the computer spitting it out. So that's a good sign that the numbers are saying that BYU is trending as a top 25 team. And I do believe with a win this weekend, they will be a top 25 team.
Yeah, I think you're right. Sylvia's in for Wisconsin. Sylvia, we'd like to think you agree with us. Howard from Salt Lake International, I believe you're on your way back to Alaska, Howard, so thanks for hopping in tonight. Robert, would Kalani Sitake really leave BYU for UCLA? UCLA fired their coach. UCLA is the worst football team I have seen at a P4 level ever. So they fired their coach over the weekend after New Mexico blew them out. And then there were some early names, and someone put Kalani's name on there. Would Kalani consider leaving BYU for UCLA? Kalani loves it here, and if BYU is being respectful in what they're paying him, which we believe they are, but you can always pay more, Kalani's never going to leave BYU. This is where he wants to be. But if they are not, there will always be options like there was when Oregon came calling a few years ago.
Look, I know nothing about this in terms of any inside information. I just know how much Kalani loves BYU, and I know how much BYU loves Kalani, and I'll leave it at that.
There is not enough fire retardant in the world to put out the dumpster fire that is UCLA. No one's going to take that
job. It puts into perspective UCLA's season opening loss, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, it sure does. Hey, do you want to come to a basketball school and try and rebuild the worst program ever in front of dozens of fans every weekend? And let's see. And then Kalani's going, well, my stadium's got 64,000 in it. Everything's good here. My culture's here. I live here. I'm not too worried about that. But BYU should always be on the front lines of doing whatever it takes to retain their coaches.
Yeah.
And the staff.
Yeah. And this is Kalani and his staff have this thing moving in the right direction. They have for a while. And I think they are very pleased with the way things are going right now.
John on the stream says East Carolina is going to be a very tough test for BYU, and we agree. The game is Saturday night. Game day is at 3:30 Mountain on BYUtv and ESPN+, and Shep's got the pregame show at the same time on BYU Radio. The Cougars and Pirates at 5:30 Mountain Time on ESPN2. Post-game show on ESPN+, BYUtv, and BYU Radio once it is over. Pirates are 2-1. They went to Coastal. I was really interested to see this, and they beat them 38-0, which really surprised me. 293 yards passing, 204 on the ground. Caton Hauser, a pretty good quarterback. He's big and strong, throws all over the place. He threw for 293 and a couple of touchdowns. You interviewed the coach of East Carolina today for the pregame show coming up later in the week. And they're a confident bunch, aren't they?
They are a confident bunch. And in talking with, it was Blake Harrell. He is the head coach. He was the interim coach last year, now has the job. He's been there as part of the staff for a couple of seasons, but now the man in charge. And, one of the things that I asked him about the offense, certainly we know that they're a prolific passing team, and it's not just the yards, but it's the efficiency in which Caden Hauser's throwing the football. He said, though, we have got to find a way to be a better rushing team. And it's funny when you look at the two offenses, they are mirror opposites of each other. You've got East Carolina that throws the ball all over the place, doesn't really run the ball a whole lot. And at least through the first two games, BYU has not put up huge passing numbers, but is just absolutely dominating on the ground. So you've got both teams that are probably looking to improve on what the other team already does well.
Trayson is in on the stream from Savannah, Georgia. Trayson, I hope you're getting to the game on Saturday. The Cougs are coming to your part of the world, and it's a lot closer drive to Greenville from where you are than Provo. So there's an opportunity for you to get to the game. Pirates are 1-10 in their last 11 against P4s. You go up against size and strength, and a lot of teams struggle. BYU's favored by 6.5. Cougars are the number one total defense, scoring defense, and rushing defense outfit in the country so far.
Through two games.
Yeah. And some teams have played three.
The BYU defense has allowed 14 rushing yards. And 3 points. Are you kidding me?
And then if you throw in the Alamo Bowl, you put 2 more yards on. That's 16 yards in 3 games and like 68 carries.
Well, honestly, I don't care who you're playing. If you're dominating your opposition with numbers like that, you are beyond legit.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be sunny all day there in Greenville on Saturday, low of 64 at night, so the weather's going to be nice. The Cougars going to be in the white helmet, white jersey, royal pants with the white trim, and the F-15s are going to buzz the stadium in the flyover. We're going to talk to those two pilots here in just a few minutes. Here's what Kalani Sitake said today as he addressed the media in his annual Monday news conference. Let's listen for a couple minutes.
Thank you. Looking forward to this week. Obviously, had a bye week last week. Our guys put in some really good work. Got some extra prep. Started early on East Carolina. And so now that we're here getting ready to start, it's right back to normal. So, we'll practice this week and head out a little early for the East Coast travel and be ready to face a very talented East Carolina team. Blake Harrell's done a great job with that program since taking over. I know he was the interim part of last year, and then he's been there for a while, though. He's been there for a number of years and has defense coordinator, and now as a head coach, he's done a great job leading them. And you look at their team's complete team, watching them play and seeing them on the film just validates what we thought all along, that they have a lot of talent. We've gone against East Carolina before. I have as a head coach, and seeing the amount of talent they have in the program. And so it's not an easy feat, but we're going to go out there and give it our best shot. I know that they'll give us theirs. Extremely talented. They have a seasoned quarterback, and I remember him when he was in high school. That's how old I'm getting right now, but remember when he was at Bosco, the Hauser kid. And he can throw the rock, man, and he's very accurate. He commands that offense and doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and so it'll be a good test for a defense. It's going to be difficult because they can run the ball, but they like to throw it too. So it's going to be fun for Jay and his group to get ready for that one. And defensively, they don't make a lot of mistakes on defense too. They're very physical up front. Their back end can cover. And they're fundamentally they're really sound in what they do. So special teams, the same thing. They work really hard. So it's a complete team. We've seen it on film, and then confirmed it with last weekend's game. It's not easy to do what they just did to Coastal Carolina. So we got to be on top of everything. They definitely have our attention and our respect. So we're looking forward to that game and can't wait to get going on practice today. So what questions do you guys have for me?
Kalani Sitake from this afternoon. The team's going to leave on Thursday for that Saturday night game. Since it's all the way on the East Coast, they're going to give themselves an extra day to get acclimated. So they'll get there and have some workouts in North Carolina ahead of Saturday night's football game, which I think is just going to get more and more intriguing as the week goes on.
Yeah, this will, I believe, a win on Saturday will go a long way in answering some of the questions that those that are still sitting on the fence have about BYU. You look at what they did at Coastal, to go on the road and have that type of dominating performance, that really says something. And they started the season with a loss at NC State. Probably should have won that game over the Wolfpack, but they didn't. Since then, they beat, I think it's Campbell in week 2, and then obviously what they did against the Chanticleers, which I know is one of your favorite mascots.
Oh, yeah.
But look, this is a good team. This is a team that's going to have a really pumped up environment to play in. This is going to be the first real test for BYU. So I'm excited to see how this team reacts, especially having 2 weeks to prepare for this. With the way the defense is playing right now, man, I can't wait to see that matchup. Their offense, BYU's defense. Let's see who comes out victorious.
Jordan Berry in Greenville tonight on the stream, and he says, I'll be at the game with all my friends and family. Can't go to the office for a week if we lose. So, Jordan, we're pulling for you and the Cougs on Saturday. There will be 2 F-15s flying over the game on Saturday night. They are guys with BYU ties flying the jets. One is a BYU grad. The other is a convert to the church and to the Cougars. Let's bring in Captain Morgan Curridan and Lieutenant Colonel Samuel B. Eliason, the Director of Operations for the 4th Operations Support Squadron at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base in Goldsboro, North Carolina. Guys, welcome to the Wise Guys. It's so nice to have both of you with us.
Great to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Okay, so Morgan, raise your hand. All right, there's Morgan. And then Sam. And Sam goes by Moby, and Morgan goes by Mojo. How do you guys pick your names for your call names?
Well, since my picture's up, I'll take this question. Okay. We don't pick them. We're assigned, like they're given to us, and so
really,
typically it's like something that something silly or stupid that you did flying the airplane to just kind of keep you humble as you remember that story.
Okay, all right. So you guys were okay with the ones you were handed, Mojo and Moby?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. At first it took a little growing into to get used to it, but it's after almost 12 years. It's a term. It's an affectionate term.
All right.
So what is if they were assigned because of something that was going on? What's the backstory as to why those were the call signs?
Mojo, you want to field a question? I've taken them all.
So in my case, it was forgetting how to check that my jet had bombs on it coming back from deployment. I'd been on a really long combat sortie, and so I was taxiing clear, and they asked me how many bombs we had dropped, and I literally said on the radio, I don't have a mirror. I can't see how many bombs I have on the jet. And of course, in the F-15, it just takes one button push to see how many bombs you have on the jet. So when I got back, everybody thought that was hilarious. I was super new in the jet. I only had a few dozen hours at that point. And so they named me Mojo, which stands for maybe our jet has ordnance. Just to keep me humble.
I would have never guessed that. I would never guess that that's what Mojo stood for. And Moby, Sam, where'd you get that?
Oh yeah, well my story is a little less appropriate than Mojo's there, but one of the questions we get asked a lot is, and this is how do you go to the bathroom in the jet? And so on those like 11, 12-hour sorties,
sure,
you're just stuck there or whatever. And so I'll just leave it at that. Mine involves an opportunity where I was demonstrating proficiency in how I could do that sort of thing.
Hey, those scenes were not in the Top Gun movies, so no one knows.
I just thought maybe he was a big fan of the artist Moby.
Yeah.
From back in the late 90s, maybe?
You could go with that story, too. that one. You could tell that one easier at parties. Morgan, as a lifelong Cougar fan, how meaningful is it to fly your F-15 over a BYU game Saturday?
It is literally the fulfillment of, a dream I've had ever since I was a little kid. Because I've always been a Cougar fan. My parents met at BYU, and I've always wanted to be a fighter pilot. So for me, doing the flyover is kind of the pinnacle of like both things that I've always had my whole life.
So, Sam, your association with BYU is actually linked to your conversion to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Why don't you, if you can, maybe give us a little bit of background on that, and what does this flight mean to you?
Yeah, so I'm a pretty recent convert to the church. I was one of those longtime callers, first-time listeners, and so when I married my wife back in 2011. We were at pilot training, and somebody told us in one of our classes that people who went to church do 10% better at pilot training. And so I was willing to do anything to get into a fighter jet. And she started going back to church, and I'm a convert from Judaism, and so I started going back to synagogue at that time. And then as we continued on in our Air Force assignments, there were no synagogues around, and so I really committed to going to church with my wife. And so I dwelt among the Cougar Nation for quite a while, and had a lot of friends that are BYU alumni. But as a convert from Judaism, last season was really the thing that got me hooked with Jake Retzlaff, BYU.
Yeah.
And I just could not stop watching the Cougars and stop watching him. And so I was really excited. I was really hopeful that I might get to meet him at this game, but obviously things didn't work out that way.
No, they didn't. But it's interesting. He's doing well at Tulane, and everybody's kind of moved on as best as everybody could in that spot. I know Clark Heyman, a BYU grad who has helped put this flyover together, baptized you, right, in Qatar?
Yeah. So in 2023, just about 2.5 years ago, he flew out to Doha and baptized me out there. And then another BYU alumni, or no, actually not a BYU alumni, but another fighter pilot from that it was from church with us confirmed me in that same time. And then my crewmate out there was a big Ute guy, and so he would be dying if he knew that I was supporting the Cougars tonight.
He'll get over it. Tell him not to worry about it. He'll get over it. Morgan, what can you tell us? And maybe you can't tell us all, but the flight plan, where you take off from, how long you guys are in the air, and how fast you'll actually be going over the stadium once you get there on Saturday night.
Yeah, so we're going to take off from Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, which is it's about an hour drive. It's about 5 minutes in F-15, maybe less. We'll probably take off about 30 minutes before kickoff and then do the flyover as part of the national anthem. We will most likely be coming in from the southeast just so we can hit the long part of the stadium. And how fast we're going kind of depends on how fast whoever's singing the national anthem sings it, because if they're singing it fast and we got to push it up, we'll be going a little faster. And if they're singing it slow, then we'll be going a little bit slower just to make up time. But I can say with the timing of the kickoff, we should be doing the flyover right at twilight. And so planning to light the burner cans right over the stadium. And I think anybody there is going to see quite a show.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, this could be for both of you. You kind of touched on a little bit there, Morgan, but the coordination in doing something like this has probably got to be more detailed than people realize. How much collaboration goes into a single flyover?
Yeah, so the first thing is being willing as the squadron to provide the jets. And I think that's probably the limiting factor for most squadrons, just because of real world taskings. Most fighter squadrons are fairly thinly manned and pretty stretched. And so it's rare to find an opportunity where you can make it happen just because of real world stuff happening. And this one was super convenient for us just because Seymour Johnson is so close to ECU. I've been stationed at this base for 5 years, and I've had this game circled literally ever since I got here because I knew how close they were going to be to Seymour Johnson. So once your squadron is willing to pony up the jets, then you talk to the school and make sure they're willing to support the flyover. And that's the main thing. Once both parties are supportive, then it's just kind of the long tail of making sure you get the approval from the FAA, and you have to call air traffic control and make sure they're tracking and get everybody else on board. But the main approval is just coming from the squadron, making sure that they don't need the jets for real world taskings, which is how most flyovers get turned off, is they just need the jets somewhere real.
Hey, on our live stream, Julia say, "Hey, Morgie, Aunt Julie from Washington, love you. Looking good, Mojo." So there you go. You got family on the line.
Thanks, Aunt Julie.
Here on the Wise Guys. Air Force F-15 pilots Captain Morgan Curridan and Lieutenant Colonel Sam Eliason are on the Wise Guys, presented by Brady Plus Eddie and Mountain America Credit Union. Sam, how many flyovers have you done other than this one? Have you guys gotten around a little bit over the years?
It's actually kind of rare to do a flyover. So the only one that I've ever done before was when I was in the UK, and it was just a single ship flying over of a Remembrance Day, somewhere that we don't normally low fly. So yeah, this is only my second one ever, and my first one as a pair of F-15s.
Okay, first football game. And Morgan, have you done any other football games?
This is going to be my first one. I was
nice.
really close to getting to do a BYU home game 2 years ago. We were kind of in the final stages of coordination. I can't remember which game it was, but then similar to what I was talking about, there were some real world things that happened. The Jets needed to get reassigned, and unfortunately we had to fall out. So I'm super excited.
How cool is it, Morgan, that for Cougar Nation, it's so vast, including you guys, that the football team can go all the way to the East Coast and BYU guys are doing the flyover?
Well, I think that just speaks to the BYU fan base. I mean, I've been, all over the world with the Air Force, and everywhere I go, I run into BYU fans. All you got to do is wear a BYU hat or a BYU shirt, and I've met BYU fans in some really cool places.
Speaking of, will you guys be allowed to wear anything BYU, or is that not going to be allowed? Or will you at least have something Cougar related while you're up in the plane?
Yeah, so we actually, myself and Moby are the two pilots of the two F-15s. Both Wizzos are going to have an ECU connection. One of them has lived in the area for a really long time, and he's an ECU fan. The other one's wife teaches at ECU.
Okay.
So we're going to have a BYU flag in one jet and an ECU flag in the other jet, just to represent the ties to both schools.
That's awesome. Are you going to wear your Cougar helmet, or is that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. I wear it every time I fly.
That's awesome. All right, guys, we've got 5 questions for you, and we appreciate your time tonight. Dewey Gray is coming up in just a minute. Our whole show is from the Carolinas tonight, which is exciting ahead of BYU in East Carolina. These 5 questions for Morgan and Sam are presented by Strategy Square. Give your company's social media presence a boost. Reach out to Chantel at strategysquare.co. All right, guys, we're going to ask you 5 rapid-fire questions, and we'll record them for posterity's sake. And you just give the first answer that comes to your mind. And when we're done with it, in a matter of seconds, folks are going to know a lot more about you. You ready?
Oh, boy.
All right, Shep, start us off.
All right, Mojo, we're going to start with you, and then Moby, you can answer next. Favorite sports movie? Mojo, what is it?
Remember the Titans.
Good one. Okay. Moby?
Draft Day.
Draft Day.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a big Cleveland Browns fan, so Draft Day is my movie.
More power to you as a Browns fan. And I know your roots are from Ohio, so that makes sense. Okay. Next one, Shep.
All right, favorite singer or band? Moby, we'll start with you.
Ooh, okay. Well, this has changed, since my conversion to the church, but the Lower Lights is my favorite band.
Lower Lights.
Okay. All right, Mojo.
Ooh, probably the Killers.
Killers.
All right.
Hey, on the stream, Jordan has a quick question. Do y'all head back to Goldsboro, or do you land in Greenville? And how are you going to get to the game once you do the flyover?
We are going to land in Goldsboro, and then we are going to ignore every traffic law in existence to try to get back to the game as quickly as possible.
I'd expect nothing less from a pilot to say that we'll get there fast. Okay. All right, number 3.
All right, Mojo, favorite breakfast cereal?
Ooh, Reese's Puffs.
Ooh, okay.
Good
Moby?
choice.
Yeah, Reese's Puffs as well.
Whoa.
Double
go.
on the Puffs.
Wow.
All right.
All right, Moby, favorite BYU or church moment?
Ooh,
Could be anything.
Could be anything.
boy. Yeah, I'm going to go with BYU, watching them play last year.
That's a pretty cool connection. I love that's one of the things that you connected to BYU sports with. I think that's awesome. All right, Mojo, what about you? Favorite BYU or church moment?
I don't think I've ever felt more electrified in a BYU game than the Tyler Algier punch out at Arizona State in 2021. My gosh, what a ride.
Well, and it went from such could have been horrible, and then it immediately became one of the signature plays that we'll be playing for the rest of our lives.
Unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
Hey, Algier scored a touchdown last night. I thought of that play as he was dancing around the end zone for the Falcons. That was one for the ages. Okay, number 5.
All right, favorite thing about being a pilot? And I think this is Mojo's.
I think just flying, just looking down at the world. I mean, it's a lot of work. You do a lot of work to get there. You do a lot of work to maintain currency. And so every time you fly, you just got to look out the window and enjoy it. Take a few seconds every flight.
Yeah.
All right, Moby, what about you?
Yeah, for me, it's flying upside down. I always tell people that there's probably 2 or 3 times that, if you're meant to be a fighter pilot, the first time you fly an airplane is one of them, and the first time you fly upside down is the other one.
Flying upside down. I didn't see that answer coming. That's an awesome answer. I would have never thought that. All right, we have a bonus question for you. We want you to be honest with this one. Go ahead, Shep.
All right, favorite speed to fly at?
Ooh. All right, so this is going to sound strange, but probably around 500 miles an hour, which is just below the speed of sound. Because once you get above the speed of sound, then the aircraft becomes substantially less maneuverable and less fun to fly.
Okay. All right, 500.
Yeah, I'd probably say the same. We fly about 500 miles an hour when we're low to the ground doing like a loft attack or a lat attack, and it's an electric feeling when you're down at 500 feet flying 500 knots.
It has to be. You have to feel like Superman, don't you?
It's amazing.
All right, I know we got to get to Dewey, but I've got a bonus question because you talked about the favorite speed. I want to know the fastest both of you have ever flown.
That's not classified.
Moby's way got me beat here.
Yeah, the best I ever did with a kick and tailwind was just under 1,070 knots ground speed, and so somewhere like just shy of 1,200 miles an hour.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's got me beat by at least 300.
So you hit about 900. All right, now look, just so fans have an idea for the flyover, and I know you're not on a run, right? When you buzz that stadium, are you going 500 miles an hour? Is that?
We'll probably be going about 350 to 400. Like I said, depending on how fast the singer is singing the national anthem, that'd be my guess. Probably roughly 350, 400 miles an hour.
Well, the East Carolina fans will love it, and the Cougar fans will love it because they know who the pilots are now, and that adds a special flavor. Captain Curridan, Lieutenant Colonel Eliason, Moby, Mojo, thank you for serving our country, first and foremost, and get us a win back there, and we look forward to watching your flyover during the BYUtv pregame coverage on our show on Saturday, and we'll know the guys flying overhead, and that'll make it special for everybody. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
How about that? That's the first time we've ever had 2 pilots on Wise Guys, and they're flying the F-15s over the stadium on Saturday in Greenville, North Carolina. How cool is that?
That's awesome. What was also, I thought, awesome was the fact that you, in a car, have gone at about 1,200 miles an hour.
Well, not by choice. I was kidnapped and happened to be in an Indy car. And,
sure.
Anyway, sure. 2 pilots with us on the Wise Guys. By the way, no AFR tomorrow due to the bye week. We'll be back a week from tomorrow. We'll recap East Carolina, and then we'll preview the Big 12 opener at Colorado. And you can watch our previous AFRs on the free BYUtv app. They are just sitting right there waiting for you. But speaking of Jake Retzlaff, 3-0 is Tulane now. They beat Duke the other night, and he had 4 rushing touchdowns, and he threw for 245. And they're at Ole Miss on Saturday, and we wish Jake the very best. Our next guest is one of the all-time greats out of the BYU secondary. He played for 6 years in the NFL. He's an author, motivational speaker, the founder of the Transformation Church with his wife, Vicki. He's one of our good friends. He's a dad. I think I've got it covered. It's our pleasure to welcome Dr. Derwin Gray back to the Wise Guys. Hey, Doc, how are you tonight?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys
We're
doing?
good. Did we get everything in there? Did I miss anything in that prize fighter introduction?
You know what? You at 54 years of age, it starts to get a little long, but you hit the main things.
How about those 2 pilots we just had on? Back on the East Coast, BYU ties, doing the flyover, and you've said it, and you say it a lot in your tweets. Cougar Nation is all over the world in a.
Oh yeah, I have been. I've been in Santorini, Greece, and I've run into BYU fans. I run into BYU fans all over the country, and also in Europe. So yeah, the BYU, the Y is rep literally around the world. It's pretty awesome.
Dewey, let's start with this stat. In the last 3 games, including the Alamo Bowl, BYU's defense allowed 2 yards rushing to Colorado, -5 to Portland State, and 19 to Stanford on a combined 68 carries. What impresses you the most about this run defense?
You know what impresses me the most is I love the scheme that Jay Hill's defense runs. I think he's taken what Kalani wants him to do. He's taken his experience. And what I enjoy about BYU games is this. They're not boring on defense. As a former NFL player, I appreciate the multiple sets, the multiple personnel packages, the fire zones, the coverages, the 3-3-5, moving to a 3-4, sometimes a 4-man front, linebackers coming from everywhere, safeties, corners. I mean, it is a NFL style defense. And as a lover of football, today's football is very vanilla. Each team probably runs about 5 or 6 plays from the RPO. And for a mastermind like Jay Hill with the talent that we have now, it is impressive. So schematically, I love it. I love we have multiple NFL players on defense. And if you want to have a defense, if you want to have a team that competes for Big 12 title, you got to have NFL caliber players. And along the defensive front, our linebackers are phenomenal. We got some incredible safeties. Our corners are locking down. I am impressed with their physicality. I'm impressed with their effort. I'm impressed at how they get after the quarterback. And I'm impressed with their intellect for them to be able to operate a sophisticated defense that an NFL team would run.
One of the things that was a real talking point in fall camp, and we'd have opportunities to talk with players, almost all of the defensive players said one thing, and they mentioned the word continuity. And it wasn't necessarily just continuity with the players on the field, because obviously there's guys that graduated and new players that came in, whether they're out of high school or off missions or coming in via the transfer. It felt to me like it was more about the continuity with the scheme and the coaching staff, that these guys have now been here for a couple of years. These players know what to expect. And I think it goes to what you were talking about. When the scheme is solid and you have that continuity at the top with your coaches, that sort of filters itself down. And I think we're sort of seeing the benefit of these guys being in the system, knowing it instinctually. And I think that's played a huge role in this season start so far.
Absolutely. So not only the continuity, but I also think there's 2 more C's, because I'm a pastor, so I got to put some C's in there. So you got the continuity, but you also have culture. And culture is a set of behaviors that leads to the vision. In order to play at that level, the behaviors and practice and watching film have to be elite. And then the other C is they are competitive. These guys like playing. They love playing. And when you have continuity, when you've got a great culture and you're competitive, some great things can happen. Now, East Carolina is a good football team. Mm-hmm. They average 456 yards of offense per game. They throw for about 330 yards per game. They need to understand there have been teams that have gone to East Carolina and have gotten boat raced. The fans there are going to be loud. This team is going to want to show that they're a legit team. And so BYU is going to have to come ready to play, because these dudes are going to be ready to play, and they're going to be challenged really for the first time this year.
In a minute, we're going to get your 5 things you want to see in this game from BYU on Saturday. First, Isaiah Glasgow and Jack Kelly. Has BYU ever had a tandem at linebacker like these two? There have been great tandems, but have they ever had a twosome like these guys?
I tell you what, I'm one of these guys that, players today are bigger, stronger, faster. That's just the reality of it. Kurt Govea and Leon White were, those guys were long-term NFL guys, Super Bowl winning champs. So, this is what I will say. At the end of the year, we'll know more. But Jack Kelly, that man can play. He can run. Glasgow, that man can play. He can run. Now, number 54, I don't remember his name at this time, but I love number 54 as well. I think as he continues to get more reps, he is ferocious as well. But Kelly and Glasgow could be in the top 5 linebacker combinations in the country. They are that good. They can stop the run. They can blitz the passer. They're great tacklers. They're physical. They can get in the cover game. I mean, Glasgow was a wide receiver, so you know his hands, his skill. Kelly showed that he can run like an old school fullback, picked up the fumble, ran it in for the touchdown or the blocked field goal against Portland State. So those guys are dynamic. But number 54, I think, can be as equally as dynamic as well.
And you're talking about Siale Acera, the redshirt sophomore. Yeah.
I like him a lot. All 3 of those guys are going to play on Sundays and make a lot of money.
What does stopping the run do for everything else, especially in the secondary where you played for all those years? When you can stop the run, what can you do?
When you can stop the run, that allows the defensive coordinator to open up the playbook and bring out all the exotic blitzes. When you know that the team can only throw the ball, first of all, the D-line is going to pin their ears back. And once again, you never know in this defense who's coming, who's going to blitz. And then for the secondary, it's feast time. It's like all you can eat buffet, you know? And so whenever you can make a team one-dimensional, you have a very high chance of winning the game.
So let's stay in that space for a minute, because I think this is the interesting matchup. I was talking, I mentioned this earlier in the show. I actually interviewed Coach Harrell, the ECU head coach, for radio pregame on Saturday. And one of the things he says is for his offense, he said, we've got to be better at running the football. Now, I think that's going to be very, very difficult against this BYU defense, certainly in what we've seen and how they've handled other teams' rushing attack through the first 2 weeks. But if those are the teams BYU has faced, is teams that wanted to run the ball. That's not what this offense of the Pirates has shown that they're very, very good at. Having to switch from the first 2 weeks where it's stop the run, stop the run, stop the run, to now facing a prolific passing team, how difficult is that to do, even though you have 2 weeks to prepare for it?
I actually think it's harder to stop the run than to prepare for the pass. And if my memory serves me correctly, the head coach Harrell comes from the Mike Leach, Texas Tech background, where they're just chunking the ball. You know, running is just the play off before they can pass the ball. And so it's written into the DNA. What they want to do is they want to throw bubble screens. So instead of running the ball, hey, here's a 4-yard bubble screen. That's just as good as running the ball. And so I think what they're going to come out and do is they're going to spread the field and they're going to say, BYU, are you quick enough to adjust to these bubble screens? And then they're going to run some draw plays. But I think they're going to try to set up the run by passing the ball. If they watch film and they come out and run the ball, I don't think that would be in their best interest. That would play into BYU's strength. But this BYU secondary's got some guys with some length and some speed, some big-time safeties, including the young guy, 11, the nickel guy at number 22. So it potentially could be a long afternoon for East Carolina. The key to this game is going to be, what is our offense going to do? I personally think we have a Big 12 championship defense, but right now our offense is playing like a number 7 within the Big 12. And so there's a lot of time to improve with a freshman quarterback. But if they do what they've done on offense, this game, like they've done the first 2 games, it's going to be a challenge for us. It's going to be real close.
Former Cougar and Colt Derwin Gray's on the Wise Guys, presented by Brady Plus Mountain America Credit Union and by Eddie. Let's continue that thought, Dewey. You played as a true freshman. Ty Detmer was a sophomore quarterback with 2 years in the system. Bear Bachmeyer is a true freshman trying to do the same job. What do you like about this kid that gives you hope that as he figures it out, this team can become a contender?
Well, the first thing, to be able to transfer after spring ball, pick up A-Rod's offense win over the locker room as an 18, 19-year-old kid is very, very impressive. Secondly, I like how big he is. I liked, I think it was Portland State where he ran a quarterback draw and he just ran the dude over. I mean, it was a linebacker he ran over. That was impressive. It might have been Stanford. I'm not sure. So I like the way he releases the ball. Just like with any young player, every snap is a learning experience for him. He doesn't have the luxury to have sat behind a veteran and learn. Mm-hmm. Like he is literally making the plane as it's flying. And so there's an old saying, a great running game covers a multitude of sins. I think that's Derwin chapter 6, verse 5.
That's a good chapter.
And so what I would like to see us do is I want to see some play action pass. I want to see us throwing the ball downfield. The tight ends have got to be a security blanket. We need some other receivers to emerge besides Roberts. But he's going to have to make some plays with his arm. Like, one of the 5 things that I want to see, the first thing I want to see is I want to see us throw for 250 yards with 65% completion percentage with no interceptions. Like, he's got to cut it loose. The talent is there. Cut it loose. Let your receivers make a play, work that big veteran tight end, play action pass. We got to lean on our giant offensive line, smash people in the mouth. I mean, guys, we have a 225-pound Eddie George clone at running back, right? So we need to pound a rock, play action pass, but we're going to need to score more points than what we have.
Do you think the bye week is probably most important for Bear? Do you think that he can take the biggest strides having 2 weeks to prepare for this game?
Yes. I think if Kalani knew what he was going into with a freshman quarterback, he would have said, hey, schedule makers, give us 2 games that give him confidence at home, then give us a bye. I mean, those reps for a freshman quarterback are huge. He's already gotten better because of this bye week. And so going into East Carolina with a ruckus crowd, we need to see strong running game and incredible play action pass. I actually think we need to come out with play action pass and throw some deep shots just to let them know that, hey, we believe in our quarterback.
Dewey, I've got the Cougar Board question of the week here, and I'm going to throw it at you. If you're not familiar with Cougar Board, it's the largest online community of BYU fans with thousands of posts every day. This question comes from Laser Coug, one of their insider subscribers, who asks, what do you do to prepare a true freshman quarterback for his first road game? What's the answer?
Well, so the first thing you do is you are telling him over and over, I believe in you. You are my guy. You are making sure that he is studying the film to get better. Like, there's some guys who watch film. There's other guys who study film. Thirdly, the veterans around him need to say, we got your back. And then you need to commission him and say, hey, we brought you in here because we believe in you. You have great talent. You're going to make some plays. Go make them plays. So you study, you build him up, and his teammates rally around him.
So we know that the Gray family will be in attendance wearing their royal blue and cheering on the Cougs. How many of your congregation in nearby South Carolina are going to be joining you at what is it Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium?
Yeah, I'd like to think you're going to have a whole section, Dewey. What do you got?
You know, man, unfortunately, I'm not physically going to be at the game. I was planning to, but because the game is at 7:30, driving there is over 3 hours. I have to preach the next morning. We got service at 8:15, 10, then 11:45. And as much as I wanted to be on the sideline, I had to take a step back and say, you know what? I'm 54 years old. I don't need to be driving at 1 a.m. for 3 hours to get back, then preaching 4 hours. And so I'm going to watch the game, but the Transformation Church congregation knows how I feel about my Cougars. Matter of fact, at the Alamo Bowl, my phone was just buzzing like crazy because they saw me on the sideline. They saw me in the huddle. So they know how I feel about my Cougs.
I think it's awesome that, because we've seen you on the sideline here, that when you go to a game, you are on the sideline. You're like the McConaughey. You're the, you have such a link to the glorious past, as Ty Detmer was your quarterback, and those were fun years. But I love how you can just show up at a game and head right to the sideline because it feels right. And it won't feel right not seeing you on Saturday, but we totally get it. Totally get it.
I am grateful for the BYU community, Coach Edwards, Tom Homo, just so many friends. I think both Jay Hill and Coach Kalani said I was their favorite player when they were in high school. And there's a lot of players that I communicate with via Instagram or Twitter. And so I try to stay close to the team. I try to be a source of wisdom and encouragement for some of the players. And, they call me Unc. Unc is the name for like when you get old, so they just call you Unc. And so, I love cheering the guys on. I love following when they go to the NFL. And it's a brotherhood. How they play matters to me. Often what I say is in Lavelle Edwards Stadium, I've got drops of blood that have helped that grass grow. Like I wrote a story and a chapter in the history of BYU football. And so it matters to me. They're building their own chapter, but it's a single thread within this big book.
John on our live stream suggests, Dewey, you hold services in the stadium Sunday morning with your congregation.
Hey, I like that idea.
All right, here we go. Let's roll out with 5 questions for Dr. Derwin Gray here on The Wise Guys, presented by Strategy Square. Get more information at strategysquare.co on how you can grow your company's social media presence. Tonight, we've asked Dewey to give us the 5 things he wants to see BYU do in Saturday's game. Number 1 has already been revealed. Throw for 250 yards, 65% completion rate, and no picks. So let's pick it up from there, Dewey. The second thing you want to see on Saturday.
Second thing I want to see is I need to see 5 sacks on defense because ECU is going to be throwing the ball like crazy. I need to see 5 sacks. I need to see Parker Kingston be the All-American punt returner he is. That's my dude. And I think he might have got benched or something. So when he gets his chance again, he needs to be the All-American. He is Weapon X. Parker Kingston, we need you. Also, I need to see us put a big physical Polynesian at fullback and run our big 225-pound tailback downhill in the mouth. I'm talking like coming straight at you. ECU has small linebackers. I need some bow. And then we need to see another wide receiver other than Chase Roberts emerge and make some big plays.
I like it. I think if all of those things happen, I think BYU's going to have a pretty good day in Greenville.
Yeah. Blaine will be back next week, Dewey, and we're going to roll right over this list and see exactly what happened, and we'll give you the props you will deserve, and we'll question the questions that remained unanswered. But I on that pounding of LJ through the line, are you thinking that Moa needs to move in front of him and be that lead blocker? Or are you looking for somebody in addition to Sione, because Sione and LJ kind of trade out in the same spot?
Yeah, no. What I'm talking about is get a backup defensive lineman, put him at fullback, and just ISO on the weak side linebacker that's about 220 pounds and just make him decide. Oh, I'm getting fired up now. Make him decide, do you want to play football today? Do you want to, how bad do you want to play today? That's what I want to see. ECU wants to throw the ball around, kind of play basketball on grass, and BYU is a physical big team. Use that to your advantage and hit them in the mouth and say, how bad do you want to play? Because ECU can score fast. And so we got to come out early. That's why it's essential for our young quarterback to grow up fast, trust him, make some plays. But then the defense has always got to set the tone. And I need to see my man Parker Kingston. I need to see you, homie.
All right, we're going to make sure Kingston gets that message loud and clear. 5 things that Derwin Gray wants to see in a BYU win on Saturday, including maybe the Jets will fly over the Transformation Church as it makes its way on down to Greenville, and you can get a flyover and then watch the game on TV with the rest of us. Let's finish with this, Dewey, and you've written so many books on the topic, and we've had a challenging past week here with the events at Utah Valley University, not far from where we are tonight. In a world, especially where young people are wondering if they're ever going to be safe. As you lean in on some of the books you've written, what advice do you have for everybody just trying to hold it together and to keep moving forward?
Wow. So, the first thing that I would say is fight the urge for vengeance. Fight the urge for labeling whoever's opposite of you. We live in a culture where we label each other like, well, that person is radical left or that person is radical MAGA. And as a Christian, what I read in the Bible, it says that every human being is made in the image and likeness of God. The label you give somebody is going to limit the love you have for them. And so the label we must have is an image bearer of God. How you treat me is not contingent upon how I treat you. Secondly, Jesus said in Matthew 5:44, but I tell you, love your enemies and bless those who persecute you. Okay? Lastly, please be careful with your social media algorithm because it will give you what you listen to the most, and it would also bring about rage. Respectfully, most social media companies want to make money, and the more active we are on their devices or platforms, the more money they make, and we're tearing each other apart. If you lift up the name of Jesus, vengeance and rage is never his commandment, but he did say this: you will know my disciples because they love one another. And it's sad to me, guys, that you had the horrible murder of Charlie Kirk, horrible, horrible, evil. But you also had the evil of a school shooting on the exact same day.
Yeah.
We've had 47 school shootings in 2025 United States of America. And we're going to have the same conversation. This side's going to say this side's going to say this. And our poor children have to go to schools and learn survival techniques. I mean, I'm really sad about the nature of where we are as a country. It breaks my heart when I hear politicians not trying to unify us, but keep us divided.
Well, you do such great work uniting people, and through your books and through your preaching, through your example, through your speaking as you move around the world and continue the mission that you're on. We salute you, and we appreciate those insights. And we're also going to hold you accountable for your 5 things you want to see at that football game on Saturday. And
this is why I know those 5 are going to be great, because what was my number, Dave?
Number 5.
5.
I like it.
Listen, and had you played in the fourth quarter against New Mexico, you'd have probably had 5 picks in that game.
They took me out after 2.5 quarters. I had a dream that I had 4 picks. 3 of them happened exactly the same way, and Coach Felt took me out.
Yeah. Someday when you see Coach Feld again in the next life, you can go,
right.
hey, let's go back to that decision.
Like, Coach, why'd you do that, man?
The great Derwin Gray, thank you so much for taking time with us on the Wise Guys, and we appreciate you. Say hi to Vicky, give our best to her, and let your congregation know that the Wise Guys is thrilled, as always, to have you on our show anytime we can get you. So let's get a win back there this weekend, and thank you again so much.
Go Cougs.
All right, Derwin Gray.
Boy, he's great.
He was great. And he's still New Mexico's nightmare. But he he's just goodness, and he's fun to be on the sideline with. He's fun to talk to in this setting, even through technology, as he's in North Carolina and we're here. But his message resonates. Yeah, you can feel it.
I know
you can feel his passion for football.
100%. That's the one thing that you can always tell when you hear an interview with him or you get a chance to talk with him. His passion and his love for BYU football is real, and it is as strong as ever.
Our whole show tonight seems like it's on the East Coast. And let's go back there as BYU is at East Carolina in Greenville, North Carolina on Saturday night. Our pleasure to welcome the alumni chair for the Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina chapter, who's overseeing the pregame festivities. Christian Eisinger joins the Wise Guys from his home in Cary, North Carolina. Hey, how are you?
Hey guys, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we hear you just fine. So listen,
right.
So far on this show, we had 2 Air Force pilots who are BYU guys who are flying the F-15 Saturday. We've had Dewey Gray, and now we got you. We're batting 4 for 4 here on the Wise Guys. How excited is everybody back there to have the Cougars coming your way?
We're excited. It has been a long time since we've had them down here. We're excited to have them in town, make a home for them, and watch them play.
How many alumni are in this area of North Carolina and in the region thereabouts, and how many fans, BYU fans, do you think will be there on Saturday?
There's going to be a number of BYU fans. It might be mostly blue. We've got a few thousand just here in Raleigh. North Carolina, the South in general is strong in BYU. We are proud BYU fans down here.
Take us through how long you've been preparing for something like this, knowing that BYU is going to be playing at East Carolina and trying to get everybody involved in this and getting the word out and putting things together, because I'm assuming that there will be pregame festivities. And take us through the undertaking that this type of game brings to the alumni base out there.
Sure. Well, I don't remember what year it was, but at some point, BYU and ECU announced they're going to play each other to 2020. Man, this series goes back a ways. So it's been years that we knew they were coming. Over a year ago was when we started making what I'd call real plans. We found a venue, we found a caterer, we got a rough head count, how many people are going to come, put together a committee. We've been working on this for well over a year, and it is fun to finally watch it come together and watch the fans get more excited and get to build some excitement. We've been working on this for a long time, and I'm excited to watch it come to fruition. A
lot of companies have joined you sponsor wise. You've got your list there, and we'll give you a chance to give them a shout out.
If you don't mind, we have, I think I will call him the greatest sponsor. We've got Sterling Fox Financial Services. That guy's in my ward. He is awesome. Rasmussen Law, greatest estate planners on earth. Robinson Premium, Possibilities Counseling. Southern Tire and Sales in Apex. That guy's also in Apex here in Raleigh. He's awesome. Under Pressure Washing Services. The Cultural Hall Podcast. Just the right amount of irreverence. Bass and Watson Family Dental here in Raleigh. A1 Detailing, Luxury Mobile Detailing. We've got a lot of businesses heard BYU's coming together and thought, I want to get involved in that. I want to get my name out there. So good businesses, good people, and it's gonna be some good football.
Put the Air Force on that list too, because you got the 2 pilots flying the jets. All right, let's get to game day. And before we talk about the tailgate, what's the service project that you're all working on back there?
I'm especially excited for this one. I've helped with a number of service project at other tailgates, but this one is especially meaningful for ECU. The East Carolina campus has the Purple Pantry, which serves specifically the students on campus. It's a food bank, the Purple Pantry, where we're going to do a big donation, big drive, collect all the food. Let's see, I've got food, healthy snacks, canned meats, taco kits, pasta, hygiene items. They have an Amazon wish list on their website. Please donate. Or if you just go to their website, you can do a monetary donation, and then you put on behalf of BYU. We can record how much we've been helping. And perhaps the most exciting part, if you're coming to the tailgate and you donate, you will get a raffle ticket. We're raffling off a football signed by some players on the BYU team.
Fantastic.
I think that's one of the coolest things that happens when BYU goes on the road is the ability to do these charity events and the service projects. And I know it's one of those things that, and maybe it's just our society these days where you're just not used to seeing people do a whole lot of good things these days, but the response and the reaction from the local fans or the local team themselves when they find out that BYU and BYU fans are there to do a service project and are donating money, I think it's always such a positive message that BYU brings with them wherever they go on the road.
Yeah,
that is astounding. They're always astounded that we would show up and do that for them.
So, Christian, on that website, give it to us, and we'll put it on our site here for Cougar fans who aren't going to the game or don't live in that area, who still want to contribute to your service project, even if they just want to donate money or whatever. What address should they go to on there?
Sure. This is clce.ecu.edu/purple-pantry. I'll give that again, clce.ecu.edu/purple-pantry.
And we encourage all Cougar Nation to make a donation there, and we'll leave our mark.
Real good cause, real good people there.
Hopefully the football team can leave their mark, and the Cougar Nation can leave their mark on the community, which the school loves to do, especially with the Alumni Association. This tailgate, what's going to go down at the tailgate? We got cheerleaders, and what do you got?
We got cheerleaders. I've been told Cosmo will make a special visit.
Fantastic.
We've got, let's see, we've got someone in the comments here mentioned Sam Jones Barbecue. Sam Jones Barbecue is catering.
Oh,
we'll have good Southern barbecue.
Jordan says that's the best in the country, hands down. So got that going for you.
Mini Cougar Tails. We tried to get Cougar Tails, but any donut shop we talked to and said it's a 15-inch maple bar, they said, get out of here. We're not making 15-inch maple bars. We got tons of activities, face painting, prizes, raffles, cornholes. We've got a big water balloon launcher. Plenty of free stuff. And the tickets are sold out online. But please show up anyway. We've got a $10 entrance fee, and then you can play all the activities you want, visit all the booths. It is going to be a great time.
That's awesome.
So I'm not necessarily up on my North Carolina geography. I do know where Cary is, but where is Greenville compared to where you are currently?
Let's call it 90 minutes east. 90 minutes east.
Okay, so
try again. 90 minutes east.
Okay, so it's not as far away as I thought it was. The reason I'm asking that is how big of a deal. Now, obviously, in the area that you are, there's a lot of very big universities. How big of a deal out in that area is East Carolina right now?
East Carolina gets swept under the rug. I'll admit that. I mean, when you're playing against Duke and NC State and UNC, and it's hard to compete against that. But the East Carolina football team is not a joke. They beat NC State in the Military Bowl last year. So and then NC State beat them in the season opener this year. So
yeah.
There is a heated rivalry there. That they get swept under the rug, but man, they're coming to play football.
All right, Christian, let's finish with this. You're a 2019 graduate in stats, so you and President Shane Reese are kindred spirits because he's a numbers guy too. But give us your 3 keys to the game for a BYU win on Saturday.
Sorry, Dr. Reese taught my intro to statistics class.
Is that right?
So
Very nice.
I've got a connection to him.
There you do.
I prepared two keys of the game, just one on each side of the ball.
Okay.
On defense or on offense rather, Blake Harrell is the head coach at ECU.
Yeah.
He started last season halfway through. He's started as an interim and did a good enough job that they said we got to make this guy head coach. He's 7-2. He's defensive minded. He is not a joke. He is good at what he does. So on the offensive side of the ball, last week you had Gifford Nielsen, and he talked about we got to build some confidence in Bear. My key on the offensive side of the ball, we got to play balanced offense. We got to get LJ Martin moving so he can make them respect the run, give Bear time to throw. The coaching staff is looking long-term at Bear. This should be the QB for the rest of this year, the year after, the year after.
Right.
If he loses confidence in this game, it's going to be rough for the next few seasons. This is we started with Portland State, got a little better with Stanford. I think we'll be a little better with ECU, getting even better next time with Colorado. This is let's get some confidence behind this guy, but it's only going to work if we can play some balanced football. And on the defensive side of the ball, ECU plays pretty quick. They tend to run a no huddle. They tend to drop back and get it out real quick. They are, let's see, in the world of stats, their QB his name is Caton Hauser.
Yeah.
He is Michigan State transfer, quite good. 72% completion rating. He is just shy of 1,000 yards after 3 games, 5 touchdowns on 1 interception. Their QB knows what he's doing. And they like to run a bunch of gadget plays. So they'll line up in one formation and shift everyone around and try run some. They're trying to play tricky football. So on the defensive side of the ball, I said we just got to play assignment football. Tricky plays thrive on over pursuit. So get down in your stance, do your job, and hold them. You can't bite on every gadget look, or they'll just start eating us alive. So those are my 2: balanced offense and then assignment football on defense.
Listen, when Blaine decides to retire, I'm calling you to be my analyst. Nice job. Well thought out. Well thought out. Balanced attack and assignment sound on defense. Those are the keys from Christian Eisinger, the chair of the Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina alumni chapter for BYU, getting ready for this weekend. Hey, we're going to put it on you to get a win back there, so no pressure, but we're counting on you and the crowd, and enjoy the Cougs coming to your neighborhood. They don't come very often, so make the most of this one, and they'll be there on Thursday for the Saturday night game.
Looking forward to it. Go Cougs.
Hey, Christian,
Thanks,
appreciate
Christian.
all you do for the alumni, and which we are all a part of, and enjoy the weekend.
Thank you. Thank you guys very much.
All right, so there you are, live in Cary, North Carolina, with Christian Eisinger. The alumni chairs all over the country do amazing stuff. And next week we'll talk to the one in Boulder, getting ready to welcome BYU to Colorado.
A little bit closer.
A little closer.
Same time zone.
Same time zone. And then we'll talk to the folks in Lubbock, Texas down the road, and Ames, Iowa. And anyway, it's amazing. And I think our pilot said it earlier in the show that the vastness of Cougar Nation, even Dewey Gray tapped in on that, the vastness of Cougar Nation makes the world feel so small.
It is. And my wife and I actually just booked a trip for next year to London. And I plan on wearing as much BYU gear as possible. And I'm just assuming that I will run into quite a few BYU fans over in London.
Yeah, you have to. They're everywhere.
I just assume wherever I go, if I'm wearing a BYU shirt or a hat or something, that I'm going to run into somebody who is also a BYU fan. That not every fan base can say that.
No. I was at Wrigley Field a few weeks ago.
You had to bring up Wrigley.
Are in line to get some hot dogs, and I had a BYU hat on. The crowd, it was just massive. That's the way the crowds are at Wrigley. Anyway, just out of nowhere, a guy walks by, go Cougs. I look up and I go, all right, we're here.
What's the I don't say weirdest, but I'll just say, what's the weirdest place you've ever had somebody say go Cougs?
The weirdest place?
Because I've got one.
Okay.
I've got one.
Well, you start and I'll think.
So a couple years ago, my wife and I went to a family wedding in Los Angeles. We were inside the LA Temple. And as we're walking very quietly down the hall, one of the temple workers walked by and said, go Cougs.
Let me tell you, I have another temple story. So we're over to call the BYU Hawaii game, and Jay Monson and I went to the Hawaii temple. I don't know what Blaine was surfing or something, but we went to the Hawaii temple, and we're sitting on the front row of the session. and we're waiting for it to start. Okay, and then I get a tap on my shoulder, and I turn around, and there's another guy back sitting on the second row, a couple of guys, and they go, "Hey, what are our chances tonight?" Because we're playing Hawaii that night.
Right.
Now, here I am feeling torn because, you try to be quiet and reverent, but at the same time, I feel obligated to answer his question.
I think it would be rude to not answer the question.
We're from Provo, and they're from Hawaii, and here we are together, right? So I err on the side of I'm going to answer his question. So I turn around, and I start to answer his question quietly, and then I get another tap on my shoulder, and it's from the temple worker going, "Hey, we're not talking about that in here." And now I was the bad guy.
You got chastised.
Just like that, I was the bad guy.
Yes.
And I'll never forget it. And I haven't done it since. But I just remember just going, do I answer his question or do I just sit here and pretend he didn't ask me? It was not his fault. It was the guy behind me's fault for asking.
Maybe the spirit hit him and he needed to know how they were going to do.
Something hit him. And then I got tapped on the shoulder. So anyway, Cougar fans are everywhere. They're in sacred places. But there's no question about it. I'm amazed at how many funerals I've been to lately where everyone wants to talk about the game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let's do our Relight Athlete of the Week. The Relight Athlete of the Week is presented by Redmond. The secret is in the salt. Learn what it can do for you at redmond.com. Tonight, Wise Guys is proud to honor Claire Little Chambers from women's volleyball. She is fantastic and is fresh off a huge weekend.
Yeah, BYU just won the LMU Invitational, sweeping USC, LMU, and Western Michigan without losing a set. They were 9-0, and the 6'3 junior from Temecula, California, she was outstanding. Had 12 kills against number 16 USC, 15 against LMU, and she had 11 kills against Western Michigan. Claire has 125 kills on the season, tied with Suli Davis for the team lead.
She was voted preseason player of the year in the Big 12. Last year, she earned first team all Big 12 honors and a spot on the collegiate national team. Her husband, Gavin, and her brother, Ian, are both on the men's volleyball team. Claire Little Chambers is our Relight Athlete of the Week, presented by Redmond. The secret is in the salt. Learn what it can do for you at redmond.com. That's a great team right there.
Yeah, it is.
Suli Davis is going to be on the show next week, but Claire and Bauer and Davis and they have a shot at doing some amazing things. They went down and played USC in LA and swept them, and USC was ranked 16th. BYU's now up to 18 in today's poll. But we had Heather Olmstead on the show a few weeks ago, and she's ready to roll.
Look, BYU women's volleyball is one of the best programs on campus and has been for a very long time. What Heather has done with that program since she took over has been remarkable. Every year, year in and year out, you can always count on them putting themselves in a position for big things.
Sylvie on the stream, what's wrong with Wrigley Field? Jason, he's a Cardinal fan. Let's just leave it at that.
Speaking of, let's look at my score. Let's
just
see.
Leave it at that.
Hosting
Sylvia.
the Reds right now.
That's what he's got going on.
Hey, we've got a lead right now. It's 4-3.
Congratulations.
We'll see if that's...
How about we hang on to it?
Well, that may be a little too much.
Campus notes are presented by BYU Pathway Worldwide. Learn how you can earn the most affordable bachelor's degree in the world at BYUpathway.edu. Men's Hoops 2026 Maui Invitational has invited BYU. They're in there with Arizona, Clemson, Ole Miss, Providence, Washington, VCU, and Colorado State. That's an awesome tournament to be in over Thanksgiving, and they're heading there next Thanksgiving in 2026.
Yeah, heading to Hawaii and in the Maui Invitational, one that everybody knows. Everybody watches the Maui Invitational, so another opportunity for BYU to get some national publicity. Analytics guru Evan Miyakawa ranks BYU number 8 in his preseason top 25, and AJ DeBonta is the number 7 best player in the country. Quite frankly, I think that's a little low.
Yeah, he's got him at 7. We'll see. Field of 68 today ranks the Cougars 11th in their preseason poll. John Rothstein has him at number 8. And another announcement since we were last together, Big Monday, Arizona at BYU, Monday, January 26th at 7 o'clock here local time on ESPN. So BYU finally back on Big Monday as a member of the Big 12.
Yeah. Well,
and that'll be quite the night.
Everybody's first opportunity to actually see this team is going to be an exhibition game at Nebraska. That'll be coming up on Saturday, October 18th. That's going to tip off at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, but you can actually watch it. It's Big Ten Plus is going to stream that.
No relation to ESPN Plus.
It is not.
It's its own
if
thing.
you have the Big Ten and their streaming service, you'll be able to watch that. That also just happens to be BYU versus Utah football day.
What a day that is.
That is going to be quite the day.
Now, for the big noon game, then it's going to be a conflict because both will be going on. But I'd like to think that BYU will be about 6 o'clock for the Utes, 6 o'clock at night, local time.
That's kind of what I'm assuming it will be.
Good spot. And October 18th, the weather will be perfect. Little autumn chill in the air for that one. We'll keep you posted on that. We'll know in a couple of weeks, right? 2 weeks out is usually when they announce start times. BYU start time with Colorado and West Virginia is already set.
Yeah, that's been out there for a while.
We won't be in the mix with that kind of news for a few weeks, but we'll get close to that one. Soccer is now 5-1-1. National ranking is 12. The new coaches poll comes out tomorrow. Top drawer out with their new poll today, and BYU's up to 17 on that one. Last week they beat Utah Valley 2-0. This week, the Big 12 opener, BYU at Arizona State Thursday night, 8 o'clock Mountain Time on ESPN+. We're talking about volleyball. This soccer team also has incredible potential for a fun season.
Yeah, as you mentioned, 5-1-1. This is another team on campus that you just, regardless of any roster turnover or changes, very much like kind of what we were talking about in terms of like the defense in football, that the scheme is sound. You've got players that fit into your scheme. What Coach Rockwood has done over 3 decades, bringing players in that fit how she wants to play year in and year out, whether they're veteran-laden or a lot of young players in, they always find a way to win. It's pretty impressive.
Southfield is a place to play. So is the field house for volleyball. Women's volleyball now 9-0 on the season. Number 16 is their new ranking today. They won the LMU Invitational, as we mentioned a moment ago, swept USC, LMU, and Western Michigan. Didn't lose a single set in that swing. The Beehive State swing starts tomorrow. Weber State's at BYU at 7 Mountain Time on ESPN+. Trent Pratt, the baseball coach, has 2 daughters on Weber State's volleyball team.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to go far to support his kids tomorrow. So there's a nice angle for the Weber State BYU game. BYU's at Utah State on Thursday at 7 on the Mountain West Network, and then at Utah Valley Saturday night at 8 on ESPN+. So that's the week ahead for women's volleyball. As mentioned, undefeated at 9-0.
Yeah, cross-country national rankings will come out tomorrow. Right now, women number 1, the men at number 4. Up next, the men will be in the Gans Greek Classic, September 26th in Columbia, Missouri, roughly an hour from where I was born, where all my family lives. And the women in the Cowboy Jamboree, September 26th in Stillwater, Oklahoma.
By the way, Jason says the weirdest place I've ever had someone say "Go Cougs" was in Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan, how do you say that? You see that?
Well, it's actually just below. I cannot see the
It's Kyrgyzstan. Wherever that is.
If that's a
someone
typo,
said "Go Cougs."
Yeah, well, it sounds like it would be like Eastern European, possibly.
I don't recognize it from the risk board.
Where are we looking at here?
But we've got a map
Okay,
up there.
there it
Looks
is.
like it's right in the middle of
It's near Uzbekistan.
yeah. Okay.
I do know that name.
Well, there's a Go Cougs.
It's above Afghanistan.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah, we're looking at a world map. Okay.
Go Cougs from the Middle East.
Nice job.
Well done.
Yeah, I hope you said "Go Cougs" back, because that's in the middle of. That's a long ways from here. We've had guys on the stream from Kuwait and all over the Far East. But that would be a new spot. It's good to see the Cougar fans are all over the place. Men's golf, the national ranking is 13. Their season opener today. They'll play again tomorrow at the Wahale Golf Club up in Colville, Utah. And so men's golf and women's golf also underway. So things are cruising now here in the fall athletics.
We're in the
semester.
thick of it, as they say.
Before we bring on our next guest, we've got a fundraiser we've been doing for E From Hope. This is a program, a charity that sends kids in Uganda to school. And we had a golf tournament that Wise Guys is a part of with so many other community members. Visit efromhope.org. And one thing we're doing is we got an autographed football from the team this year, and also a signed hat from Cialia Serra that we are auctioning off. I'm going to do that for the next couple of weeks. Last year we raised $5,500 on an autographed football. That sent 23 kids to school for a full year. So we're doing it again, and we want you to go over to our website, wiseguys.com, click on the Contact Us tab, and use the form there to send in your bid, and that's it. We'll put a link in the chat and also in the show notes if you're listening on the podcast, and we encourage you to participate. That auction will be open for a couple more weeks, and again, we're looking for money. We're looking for money that we can send to the Ephraim Hope Charity. By the way, 100% of the money raised goes to the kids there and sends them to school, and that's why we're involved. That's stuff. That's what we're doing. So please, and that football signed by Bear Bachmeyer, Kalani Sitake, and all the Cougars. So right now they're 2-0, and that ball's going to get more valuable as we go through week by week. And next week, if they're 3-0, that ball's 3-0.
There you go.
And
keep the wins coming and keep the money coming.
Last year's football went 11-2 and won the Alamo Bowl. So join us and submit your bids, and let's do some good things. Let's bring in our next guest, who's a BYU grad, who is playing a key role in raising money to support athletes and athletics at BYU in a very creative way called Waypoint Travel. And we are pleased and happy to welcome Matt Sanders to the Wise Guys. There's a lot of questions about NIL, about rev share, and we thought we'd take a few minutes and visit with an expert who's right in the middle of all that stuff and has a few ideas for how Cougar fans can get involved and make a difference in helping carry the load as we move forward into this really brave new world of college sports. People ask me all the time, they go, hey, how's that NIL working for BYU? And I said, well, went to the Sweet 16 last year and went 11-2. It's working fine. But it's our pleasure to welcome Matt to the show. Thank you for being here.
Such a pleasure being here. I remember our times when I was at Ezra Digital fondly. So knew Jason and you, Dave, and Daryl Brown's my neighbor up in Heber Valley.
Good
so
man.
Lots of good connections,
there
right?
You go.
What do you think of our lair?
I love it. It's so great. I think the BYU Sailor Coug should be a little more central, though.
Well, you're right. We had to put the sponsors in the middle. We're businessmen.
Yeah, smart.
But that's the first time someone thought. A lot of people say, "Hey, that U is too. You can see it too well. It should go in the corner."
But you could shift that really tall locker over a little bit, and it would cut off half of it.
Half the U. You're
That's
right.
not bad. That's a good idea.
It's good that we get some outside ideas on occasion because we just get lost in what we got going on. But Matt, tell us about and describe really. To kind of set the preface for what we want to talk about, the financial challenge facing BYU athletics now that schools are sharing revenue with their athletes. What is it?
Yeah, so there's been several tectonic shifts in college athletics. It started with NIL, which is basically university athletes having the opportunity to go and sell their name, image, and likeness in the marketplace to receive payment. And that's been around for several years. And then the next shift was the transfer portal that made these university athletes mobile. There was a house settlement. It was called the house settlement that then made it required of some schools who opted in to, as part of the settlement, to share revenue with the university athletes who are working effectively in building the name, image, and likeness and delivering revenue to the university.
And that started July 1.
The July 1. It's been on everybody's radar for some time, and it became official July 1. I was I was at the National Association of College Directors and Athletics, NACTA, on July 8th and 9th, June 8th and 9th, and it was announced that previous Friday. And what an environment that was to see those college athletic directors talking about nothing else but revenue share. It was remarkable. The compliance officers, the marketing folks, the athletic directors had direct conversation with athletic directors, and all they're thinking about is how do we now fill this $20.5 million hole in the bottom of our revenue boat?
How prepared did everybody feel at the time? Because I've got to assume a lot probably were somewhat prepared, but in large part, I've got to imagine everybody was trying to figure out how in the world are we going to do this?
Yeah, my sense was that they were waiting. They had some things in the works. They were contingency planning in terms of hiring general managers. BYU's done the same. Andrew Luck, right? Stanford.
Yes.
So hired him to be the general manager. So that was a trend. Chief business officers, they started pre-positioning some resources inside their departments to become more business-like, to think about their programs in a different way.
So every year, BYU gets a sum of money from the Big 12 through their membership. I think it's between $40 and $50 million once it's maxed out. And I think they're close to that. So that money comes in. And does that money then, is that the pile where they take the $20 million to pay their student athletes in their rev share plan? Or is it that's going to other stuff and guys like you have to go raise $20 million?
Yeah, it's a great question. In most cases, the universities had already earmarked much of that revenue. BYU is in a really good spot because they were frugal. And I talked to one of the administrators of the college of the BYU system, and he said, "We don't know what we're going to do with all that money." Well, now they know, right?
Right.
But other programs are in the hole, right? They're running in the red, and so now they have to come up with another $20.5 million, even with the largesse that they're getting from their conferences and from postseason play.
One of the things that it's been interesting to watch is just how creative teams and people in this venue are getting in order to be able to raise funds. So tell everybody what Waypoint Travel is and how it works.
Yeah, great. When we were thinking, a couple of years ago, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said, we really believe that the BYU entrepreneurial ecosystem will be part of our solution. And I said, challenge accepted. Let's figure out a way to think about this differently. And our donors at BYU have been phenomenal in supporting what we now see as Jane Hedegren and AJ DeBonsa and Ryder Lyons. And people were looking around like, how in the world is BYU doing this? Well, what's interesting, if you think about the larger asset that BYU has, which is this loyalty and almost maniacal passion for BYU, and that can be said about most colleges. If you just look at what BYU alumni, 600,000-ish alumni, spend on their global travel, London, Hawaii, right? It's about $3.5 billion a year on lodging and theme park tickets. So we said, well...
And churros.
Yeah,
a big chunk of that for churros.
Exactly.
Churros are delicious.
Of all the budget items that somebody has in their lives, their mortgage, their fuel budget, et cetera, most of those aren't fungible. They can't be moved around, but travel can be, and it's a big item. And so what we looked at is, well, how can we take advantage of the loyalty that people feel toward their university and get them to shift their behavior? So we basically built an Expedia in the box for BYU called GoCougs.travel. And underneath it, you sign up as a member for free, and you book lodging the way you would on Expedia or Kayak, but you're getting as good or better deals. Same hotels globally. You book your anniversary trip, you book your Hawaii trip, you book your soccer tournament trip to St. George, and you do it on GoCougs.travel.
So the Mackies who are on the stream signing in from the quantum of the sea, somewhere north of Seattle, headed to Alaska at the moment, traveling with 14 BYU fans. Had the Mackies gone through your program, then BYU would have got a piece of the action.
That's right.
And they would still be on their cruise to Alaska.
That's right. So Mackie, send me an email. Go sign up. Next trip, it's on GoCougs.travel.
So it's you're not doing anything out of the ordinary that you wouldn't have done anyway. The difference is that this helps BYU athletics.
Exactly. We've structured it so that effectively, if you think about Expedia, Kayak, et cetera, Marriott, they spend about $17 billion a year marketing their platforms. And most of that's going to Google, Facebook, et cetera.
Yeah.
Our approach is BYU already has the audience. Just point them to GoCougs.travel, and instead of spending all that money, we'll share that with BYU.
Matt Sanders of Waypoint Travel on the Wise Guys, presented by Brady Plus, Mountain America Credit Union, and by Eddie. So what are the early returns looking like as this has gotten going? And potentially, this feels like potentially it could be an enormous revenue source.
Yeah, here's what's fun about it. We've just started. We already have hundreds of members on GoCougs.travel. They're already booking their Disney trips. It's fun to see. They're booking their Hawaii trips. I have people telling me all the time, my next Hawaii trip, it's on GoCougs.travel. The real limit here is just getting more members. Let's get more Cougars booking on GoCougs.travel. If you think about it, if only 2% of the alumni shift their budget, or let's say it differently, if we just get 2% of the alumni doing one trip a year, that's about $2 million a year for BYU. That's just alumni, not even the full fan base.
All right, so I don't mean to put you on the spot, but when someone says that means they're about to put you on the spot.
Please.
So you were here when we were talking about the weirdest or most odd places somebody's ever said "Go Cougs" to. Do you have a story with something like that? It could be a travel story.
I've got a good one.
Okay.
When I was working for Desert Digital Media, I was down in San Salvador, El Salvador, doing a media boot camp for a media company, of all places. My driver picks me up, and he drives me to the Intercontinental Hotel. On the way there, he tells me, "Hey, I am a big BYU basketball fan." I'm like, "Really? Are you LDS?" "No, I just get BYU TV." I was like, "That's amazing."
There we go.
Yo amo Jimmer. Jimmer es increíble. And I'm like, this is unbelievable. So that was my most far afield Go Cougs moment.
So, so I was at when I was a senior at BYU, or the start of my junior to senior year. So I got a job at Good Morning America, and so I was back in New York, and I was a reporter, and I was at the top of the skyscraper at this 15th anniversary of Good Morning America being #1 party. It was also the party that they were introducing me as the newest member of their staff, of their show. And I remember thinking they all knew I was a BYU guy, so I knew I wasn't drinking, I wasn't doing anything at this thing, and I felt like I was just like I had a light on me, wherever I was going. It's like, that's what a BYU guy looks like right over there. And I was starving, and I didn't know what I could eat, right? Things were coming on the high trays and this and that. Everyone had champagne and stuff. For the toast, I just snuck in between two tall people and avoided that. But out of nowhere, this kid comes up and goes, "Hey, you the BYU guy?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You hungry?" I said, "I'm starving." He goes, "Let me tell you what you can eat." So as the trays came by, he'd take this. He'd go, "You can't have that. You got this." He gets me this plate of food. And then he goes, you're thirsty? Hang on. He leaves. He comes back with a glass of milk.
Nice.
Now, I'm not a big milk drinker, but I was that night. And so now I got a plate of food and a glass of milk. And I look at him and I go, are you Mormon? And he goes, "No, but I watch your football team every Saturday night. I'm from New Jersey."
That's crazy.
And then he turned around and he was gone, and I've never seen him since. And he was either an angel or he was really a guy from New Jersey. But his link was what he saw on TV from BYU, and that affects so many people.
Totally. Yeah, and if Blaine were here, I would say, "Hey, Blaine, remember Fowler to Kozlowski?"
Yeah.
Right.
Trust me, he remembers.
Yeah. So if you're watching, Blaine, that's for you. But people have watched BYU be this unique, novel, very different university for years, and we stand out. And what's fun for us is Waypoint is doing this with BYU, but all eyes are on BYU. So there are 4 other schools in the Big 12. There's an ACC, there's an SEC school, there's a new Pac-12 school that are also coming onto the Waypoint platform to be able to fund their student athletes through fan loyalty and passion and shifting their behavior.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So you're the guinea pigs.
So BYU's the pioneer. They get to be out ahead of everyone else. They'll learn faster than anybody else. And we do have this remarkable fan base.
Why specifically, why the travel angle? I know you touched on it a little bit, but why was that the one where you felt like that probably had the most juice behind it?
Part of it is it's adjacent to another business that we had been incubating. And I thought, well, how do I start to get the Big 12 travel to my other business, which is a short-term rental management business? And that I just started pulling on the thread. Like, whoa, this is really big. There are 201,000 trips booked from Big 12 fans and inbound Utah and BYU fans for home games. Like, well, how do I go to a piece of that? And then I started looking at it. It's like, oh, no, it's much, much bigger than that. What if we did global travel and fan travel being part of it for away games and home games? But let's go get a piece of all of that travel. And then the number got really, really big.
Linda's on the stream and asks, is it just hotels? That's all I'm really seeing on the website. Is it hotels or is it airfare? Is it ships at sea? What do you got?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's hotels and theme parks currently. We can add flights and rental cars. That tends to be where the headaches are.
Yeah.
And low margin to date. There are some opportunities for vacation rentals, Airbnb types down the road, and we're thinking about cruises. Maybe we need to talk to the Cruise with the Cougs guys and see what we can do there.
So you mentioned theme parks. What theme parks are currently part of this? I assume Disneyland.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if there's anything we as members of the church love, it's Disney.
Yeah.
So what other theme parks?
So you got the Disneys, you got the Six Flags, you got the Busch Gardens types all around the country.
Okay.
Where Cougar fans go.
Yeah, right.
I was there a month and a half ago.
Yes, you were. And it wasn't the first time this year.
No, it was not.
All right. Where can Cougar fans go to sign up, and how? Let's walk them through the process.
Yeah, super simple. www.gocougs.travel.
And the link is on the stream and in the show notes. Okay.
And it's super easy. You can sign up with just an email and a password that you decide, or with your Google sign in. It's free. And then once you're in, you'll see it's very familiar. It looks an awful lot like Expedia or any other experience. What's fun is you'll be able to see, in most cases, live comparison of prices. You'll see Orbitz and Travelocity or whatever, and then you'll see the price that's being offered to BYU fans.
Okay. All right, Cougar Nation. There you go. There's a way you can travel, have a good time, and help the Cougars at the same time, and then spread the word. And I think this has tremendous potential. And it's interesting because it's BYU guys thinking up ways to keep getting good football players and basketball players and women's basketball players and tennis players and golfers and all that. But we're in this new world of, is it all about money? It's so different now than when we were going through school, when it wasn't about this much money. But the Big 12 wasn't paying $50 million a school for rights. All of it's gone up, and it is so much about the economy today.
Totally. Well, if you think about these student athletes, my son plays college football, and it's 11 months a year, 6 to 7 days a week. They're accountable, and they have some of May off, and that's when they're healing and working out and working on speed. And so most athletes aren't the AJ DeBonsas. They're making some money, but on a dollar per hour, it looks a lot more like Napoleon Dynamite doing
exactly.
Working with chickens, right? Yeah. So it's a new world, but BYU fans now have an opportunity to become micro donors. We're super grateful for our big donors. Be micro donors. Just change your behavior. Take a trip a year, and it'll make a difference. And guarantee, here's the Waypoint guarantee: best sleep of your night. Because you'll lay back and you'll dream of 3-pointers, you'll dream of national championship steeplechases, best night of your life.
I like that.
Yeah.
Should we get to the 5 questions?
Yeah, let's do it. 5 questions from Matt, presented by StrategySquare.co. We hit all our guests with these.
Oh gosh.
And we're coming at you. Rapid fire. Just tell us what comes to your mind. If we don't have a timer or a buzzer, but think like we do.
Sure.
Okay. Favorite sports movie?
Chariots of Fire.
Ooh, very nice. Favorite singer or band?
Oh boy, it's got to be U2.
That's a good one.
Okay. Favorite breakfast?
Wait.
Oh.
The new U2 or the old U2?
That's Bono and company.
Wait, there's a new U2?
Well, you mean the new U2 meaning the new stuff.
Oh.
Or the old U2
no, it's the
meaning
classic.
the Unforgettable Fire and that stuff when we were kids.
Right, like Joshua Tree.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
Yeah,
that's what we grew up with.
All right, favorite breakfast cereal?
Gosh, it's peanut butter granola with vanilla yogurt.
Okay.
Are you just making this up?
No.
Throwing it.
My kids know this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Peanut butter granola with vanilla yogurt?
Yeah, my first word as a child was jiao jiao, which means peanut butter, which meant to me peanut butter, and I'm a peanut butter holic.
Okay. For a second, I thought he was going to say Reese's peanut butter puffs like the pilots did.
I thought we were going that way, and then granola just came flying at us.
No. It's my attempt to be somewhat healthy, right? It's just like
okay.
That's fine. I like that. Favorite class at BYU?
Oh, it was. It had to have been philosophy of Judaism with Truman Madsen, because that's where I met a beautiful redhead who I eventually married. I was going to drop the class, and I was super disappointed. And in the back of the class, somebody made a comment. I turned around. There's a beautiful redhead. I was like, this is going to be a great class.
What grade did you get in the class?
I got an A. I'd studied in Israel. I knew Truman. Yeah. And it turns out knowing Judaism was much more important than knowing like Western philosophy. So I knew all this arcane stuff about Judaism, so I did okay.
Who knew that all those years before you were being prepped to sit in that class on that day?
Right. Exactly.
All right. Last one. Favorite BYU moment?
Oh, boy. So I grew up in Weiser, Idaho, home of Hans Olsen and Eli Madrietta, right?
That's right.
And I believe his mom still has a chocolate store there.
Oh,
or
yeah,
something like that.
Fawn's Fudge Factory.
Okay,
My
all
dad was in the bishopric with Clark Olson. We know the Olsons from way back. Great people. So 1980, my dad checks me out of school. We drive all the way around the south of Idaho to Pocatello to get the BYU Holiday Bowl, because that's the closest place that we could get the cable system to be able to watch the Holiday Bowl.
Because it was on the Mislu network.
That's right.
And not everyone had the Mislu network.
No, cable was brand new everywhere.
ESPN wasn't until 84.
Exactly.
Right?
Wasn't Pitt BYU the first
game?
That's right.
And that's when Blaine, I think, threw that pass to...
Blaine opened the season throwing that pass against Pitt.
Yeah.
And then it was McCann who threw the pass at the end of the season
to Haysbert.
Well, it was Bosco that
Bosco
came in.
to Haysbert.
Yeah, you're right. But and Blaine played in that championship game. And then Bosco hit Kelly Smith, right?
So
for the game winner.
So here's what happened. We're driving, and it's a terribly foggy drive. So we're slow getting over to Pocatello. So we're all the way from Boise area around to Pocatello. And the whole time, what are we hearing? Dickerson, Craig James. Dickerson, Craig James, just running over us. We finally get to the hotel, we check in, and it's like middle of the third quarter, and we're already just like emotionally spent. And then it's fourth quarter. Then Vi gets the, and then I think punt block, and then that craziness. And so it's, I don't know, 11 o'clock at night, and we are jumping up and down on the beds when he comes down with the catch, and the hotel calls us and say, "We're going to kick you out of the hotel," because we were going crazy. And I was only a sixth grader. But we were jumping up and down on the bed. So yeah,
as you should have been.
Yeah, it was great.
And the drive home was awesome the next day. That is an awesome story. I've heard a lot of Miracle Bowl stories, but nothing quite like that one.
It was something.
That's classic. We were at a Deacon's Corn party playing football out in the snow, and then came in and watched how bad it was going to get, and then it got better.
Yeah.
And then we won it. Skipped home.
I was 8 years old, so I did not watch it. I was in Independence, Missouri with my family.
You missed a big one.
I did not witness that game live. So all of my memories of it have been watching it since.
Well, it was a great one, and we've had a lot of good ones. And let's see what kind of game we're going to have on Saturday. What's your pick for Saturday night?
I think the BYU defense is really something. The speed, the strength of the defensive line, and then the speed on the edges make it a problem for everybody. I think our defensive backfield is still maturing, and they haven't been really tested yet, so they will be tested more this week. But I'm BYU up by 2 touchdowns. I don't know what the exact score is, but our defense will keep us in the game. I think there's a great bye week for Bear Bachmeier. You can tell that he's got the tools. Yeah. Just needs the time. He needs the time to kind of settle in and see. And I think we're going to be fine.
It's going to be really intriguing.
This really is a big game for BYU.
Yeah,
it's a big game, and it can really springboard this team right into Big 12 play.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be good. All right, go Cougs.travel. Waypoint Travel, guys, going to help change the game for BYU. And Matt, we're so glad you could come in and hang out with us.
Oh, thanks, Matt. My pleasure. Great to see you both.
Good
Thanks for all you do. Go
Thank
Cougs.
You
Go
got
Cougs.
it. All right, Matt Sanders. Again, that's a really cool idea that can be a game changer. Think of Waypoint Travel next time you're booking your family trip, and go Cougs.travel to get all your info. Sign up for them. And how about that, Shep? The next time, if you're going to Disneyland, you're going to stay somewhere anyway.
Yeah.
Go through Waypoint Travel, and then some of that proceeds goes to the BYU athletic department, and you still go on your trip.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're going to do it anyway. Why not do something that also benefits BYU, right? It just makes sense.
Before we do this day in history, let's look back at the Big 12, because we've got some big games coming up this week.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you a couple of things, all right? Last week in the Big 12, I'll ask you what we did learn. What did we learn? As now all the games are big, and after this week for BYU, it's all Big 12 all the time. But it's East Carolina on Saturday. So last week in the Big 12, Houston beat Colorado 36-20.
Yep.
Yeah. What did we learn about Colorado?
Honestly, I think this is more about Houston.
Yeah.
I think Houston may be much better than what we thought. Now, I don't think that they're going to, be in the mix at the end of the year in terms of the conference championship. But I think Houston and Arizona have proven so far to be more of a challenge than we would have originally expected.
And Colorado, less of one. They just don't look very good.
Well, look, they made wholesale changes. The two biggest players on that team, who now have their jerseys retired, they're in the NFL right now. I mean, that whole thing was based on those two players, and they're not there.
Watching that game had me more optimistic about BYU going to Boulder.
Yeah,
just
100%.
Just winning the line of scrimmage where you win the game.
100%.
All right, Arizona beat Kansas State 23-17 in a non-conference game, even though they're both in the Big 12. It was booked a long time ago. Kansas State is nowhere near what people thought. Remember, they were 16th going into that game over in Ireland. And Arizona's going to be tough when BYU goes down there.
Yeah, Arizona, like I said, is better than I thought they were going to be. And K-State, man alive, I don't understand the struggles. And I don't know if Avery Johnson is if they're sort of holding him back from, like, he's trying to fit into a certain system and they're not letting him play instinctually. I don't know what it is. Quite frankly, the best game they've played is the loss in Ireland to Iowa State. They shouldn't have won that game against North Dakota.
No.
They legitimately should be 0-4 right now. Or excuse me, 0-3.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been an interesting one. Texas Tech beat Oregon State 45-14. We're going to learn a lot more about Texas Tech this week. West Virginia beat Pitt 31-24 in overtime in a rivalry game. The Mountaineers will be here on October 3rd. They've struggled out of the gate. That was an enormous win for them.
That was a massive win. That is their rival. That's the one. When I was in Morgantown with the women's basketball team, I can't repeat what the signs were, but there were signs all over that town directed at Pitt.
Utah beat Wyoming 31-6. The Utes led 3-0 at halftime. Yeah. They're going to find out who they are on Saturday too when Texas Tech comes into Salt Lake.
That is a massive matchup. There's a reason that Fox is coming into town for that one.
Yeah, and one of those teams is going to find out, one's going to be legit and one's going to be exposed.
Texas Tech's offense is putting up insane numbers.
Yeah, it's going to be.
But look, year in and year out, we know what the Utah defense looks like. So it is going to be a good matchup.
What we also know is the Utah didn't win a home game in the Big 12 last year.
That is correct.
And here comes Texas Tech. They could very well make it 6-0 for the visiting team at the vaunted Rice-Eccles Stadium. Well, that's a tough game, but an intriguing one. That's why we watch these games, right? Because we have no idea what's going to happen. Notable Big 12 games this week. As Keith says, good morning from Kuwait. Go Cougs. Keith, good to have you on the stream tonight as we span the globe here on Wise Guys. Tulsa's at Oklahoma State on Friday night, 5:30 on ESPN. A few of these are out of conference. Arizona State's at Baylor Saturday. That's going to be a big one. SMU's at TCU. Again, Texas Tech and Utah, that's number 17 against number 16. 10 a.m. Saturday morning on Fox. North Carolina's at UCF. UCF's another team that I'm not sure where they're at.
Well, in North Carolina, I mean, that's quite the team right now.
West Virginia's at Kansas in a Big 12 game. And then Wyoming's at Colorado Saturday night at 8:15 on ESPN. We're on ESPN2, Wyoming, Colorado on ESPN on Saturday
night. And
you
got to think Colorado gets right in that game and should be coming off a victory as they get ready to host BYU the following week.
One would think.
You would think.
But Wyoming's, they got the game tape. They're going in with nothing to lose. And they were stout on defense against Utah.
Well, there's no.
Colorado has to figure out what in the world they're going to be on offense.
That's it. They have no identity right now. They're still trying to figure things out.
They're playing three quarterbacks.
Yes, and by the time that they figure it out, it's going to be too late. Let's just hope they don't figure it out in 2 weeks.
Yeah, they could figure it out in 3 weeks. I don't think they're going to figure it out in 2 weeks because the line of scrimmage is part of their problem.
Right.
And those are hard to fix. when the season's on. And we do know that when BYU goes over to Boulder, they're taking a huge offensive line, and they're taking arguably the number one defense in the Big 12. Statistically, they're number one, but arguably they're number one.
And they're going to take a ton of BYU fans with them.
Yeah, that's going to be quite the night. First things first is Saturday night in Greenville,
Take
North
care
Carolina.
of the Pirates first.
Yeah. We can talk about other things. The players, they got to go to one step at a time. All right, let's roll out of here on this day on September 15th. This is the part of the show where we like to point out certain things that happened here that have affected our life in one form or the other.
Do you want me to take the first one because the second one is about one of your beloved teams?
Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, I would rather take the second one because it's the Cubs losing. So you take the first one.
On this day in 1930, the first international bridge match was held in London, and the U.S. defeated England. Now, I don't know if this is when they did the London Bridges song Falling Down, when they went over there and won the bridge match, but it could. Probably not, but it certainly applies. But the fact that in 1930 there was an international bridge match,
hey,
that's the world
that's
we
what
live
you do
in
in the 30s, right?
Okay.
In 1946, the Dodgers beat the Cubs 2-0 in 5 innings.
There was a reason we lost.
Yes, the game was called due to gnats.
Yeah.
Too many gnats, I guess.
We couldn't see the ball. There were too many gnats. So I don't know how the Dodgers got 2 runs, but we couldn't get anything across. In 1973, on this day, Ohio State's Archie Griffin begins his streak of 31 games with 100 yards rushing or more. And think about the league he played in. And he went 31 games over the century mark. He was fantastic.
Remarkable. 1978, Muhammad Ali beats Leon Spinks in 15 rounds for the heavyweight championship.
That's old school.
Now
they only go 12 rounds.
Yeah.
In 1982, how about this? The first issue of USA Today was published.
1982, I didn't realize.
That changed how newspapers, that changed everything about newspapers, even driving them into extinction, because it eventually led to, I can just get the headline on my phone.
Right.
But remember, they took, hey, we're not giving you the stories, we're going to give you the headlines.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we just moved into, you know what, I don't need newsprint on my fingers. I'll just get it on my phone.
It's all in the palm of our hand now,
so
Dave.
Anyway, on this day, USA Today, and it was so cool when USA Today showed up. I thought, that's the newspaper of all newspapers. I don't know why. There's nothing in it. Okay.
September 15th birthdays. In 1254, Marco Polo had his birthday, September 15th. Happy birthday, Marco Polo.
We don't know when the swimming pool game took place.
Are you a fan of the Marco Polo pool game?
No, I'm not.
Well, who's not a fan of that game? Like, what's your?
I just,
why are you anti Marco Polo in the pool?
The kids love it. Right?
I love it.
They say, you know how you have to say polo and you try to throw your voice so you sound further away in the pool than you are? That never works.
Could be a ventriloquist.
1940 birthday, Merlin Olsen, Hall of Famer, football player, actor, and the uncle of Hans Olsen.
Yes, absolutely. 1946, Tommy Lee Jones, the actor from The Fugitive and many others, Men in Black.
Yeah, what was his best movie? The Fugitive, he was really good.
He was great in The Fugitive. I did enjoy him in Men in Black. Was it No Country for Old Men or Old Country for No Men?
He was an old codger. It was an old country, and there were old men. I don't know what it was called.
Yeah.
He was good.
Yeah, he was great.
1961, Dan Marino was born. For the Miami. What the Dolphins wouldn't do to have Marino back.
All right, we go from the birthdays. Well, this is somber. The deaths on September 15th. In 2019, Rick Ocasek, lead singer for the Cars, passed away.
Was the Cars. Benjamin Orr was their other singer, but the first record I ever bought was the Cars.
Really?
I went to the mall, used my paper out money, bought the Shake It Up album, whatever that one was. That Shake It Up and Since You're Gone. And I went home, I put it on my record player, and there I had my first Cars. My first record I ever bought.
Really? That's
yeah. And Rick Ocasek.
I don't think I would have guessed the Cars.
Really?
Yeah, I would have thought for you it would have been like what we would consider now classic rock.
Yeah.
Although now classic rock today is considered stuff that I listened to when I was a kid, so I don't know what that means anymore.
The Cars would have been classic rock. Today, like the Arrow.
I figured you would have been like a Leonard Skinner guy or something.
No, but AC/DC wasn't
I know.
too far behind.
I know you love your some Leonard
Skinner.
And then later in life, Def Leppard.
That's Skinner. Tito Jackson of the Jackson 5 died on this day in 2024. So
R.I.P. Tito.
Our Wise Guys inspirational quote of the week is from Merlin Olsen, who once said,
One of life's most painful moments comes when we must admit that we didn't do our homework, that we are not prepared.
How true is that?
It's very true.
In sports, in acting, in school, how many times have you sat in front of a test knowing
I'm not ready for this?
This isn't going to work out.
Yep.
That's a painful moment.
Yeah.
When we must admit we didn't do our homework and that we are not prepared. Yeah, the great Merlin Olsen. Our thanks tonight to Derwin Gray, Matt Sanders, Christian Eisinger, and our Air Force pilots and BYU guys, Captain Morgan Curridan, a BYU grad, and Lieutenant Colonel Sam Eliason, who's cheering for BYU and joined the church this last year or a couple of years ago. And he had a great little story there of he got tied to BYU through Jake Retzlaff because he was Jewish before he joined the church, and the fact that BYU had a Jewish quarterback caught his eye, and that was his BYU.
It's a really cool story.
Yeah, appreciate those guys. They're going to be flying the two F-15s over the stadium Saturday at East Carolina. So if you're at the game and you see the jets, know that BYU guys are flying those. And if you're watching the pregame show, and hopefully we show it, know that those are BYU guys flying those. But they did say there would be an East Carolina flag in one jet, a BYU flag in the other. But Captain Curridan will be wearing his BYU flight helmet that looks like a football helmet. He
says he wears it every time he flies.
That's it. Keeps him safe.
That's right.
Keeps him safe. Next week, Jimmer Fredette and volleyball star Sully Davis and BYU alum Kyle Taylor on the alumni activities ahead of the BYU-Colorado game over in Boulder. So that's next week. Here's where you can find us this week. Blaine and I will be on BYU Sports Nation Game Day Saturday at 3:30 Mountain Time on BYUtv and ESPN Plus. You will be doing the radio coverage also at 3:30.
Yeah, also at 3:30 on BYU Radio and on KSL News Radio. Myself, Hans Olsen, Greg Wrubell, and Mitchell Juergens will get you ready for the game on the radio side.
Are you doing any Sports Nation between now and then?
I do not believe I'm doing any Sports Nation. No, I take that back. Thursday. I will be on Thursday.
You'll see Shep on Sports Nation on Thursday.
That's right.
And I'll be in the Deseret News all week. Wise Guys is presented by Brady Plus, supplies plus support. Find out more at bradyplus.com.
And by Eddie, HR and payroll software built for small businesses. See how Eddie can serve your team at eddy.com, EDDY.com.
And by Mountain America Credit Union, empowering dreams for over 80 years. Find out what they can do for you at macu.com, MACU.com.
Our Relight Athlete of the Week presented by Redmond. The secret is in the salt. Learn what it can do for you at redmond.com.
Wise Guys is distributed by the Deseret News. Love these companies because they allow us to do this show free to you, wherever you are in the world, including over in Kuwait. Keith, we're glad to have you hop on the stream before we finish here tonight. Thank you for joining us. Podcast out tomorrow, and that way you can listen to it whenever you want. We'll also have this show always on Facebook and Twitch and YouTube. We'll have clips around there as well. This was one of our best shows. Thanks for being here.
You bet. Thanks for the invite. It was fun. Thanks for asking me to hang out with you.
You are welcome anytime, and we made history tonight with our first two Air Force pilots.
Oh.
We've had pilots before, but just one.
Oh, so
Today,
the double pilot.
We had double pilots, double planes. And you know how we feel about flyovers around here.
Yes. You love a flyover.
Yeah. Nothing says this event's bigger than the other events. Like when jets fly over. If jets flew over on Christmas, it would just take it one notch higher.
Yeah.
Halloween should have jets fly over.
I would take that on Halloween.
Yeah. Just zipping by through the community.
Paint them like a witch's broom. You could do the whole thing. You could totally Halloween it up.
I love where you're going here. I love where you're going.
You don't. You're mocking me now.
But I'm all for Halloween flyovers. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you at all those places, and then we'll see you next week for more Wise Guys right here. Have a great one, and let's get a win on Saturday.